Boxing King Media, Stephen Espinoza. Stephen, what's your initial reactions to that fight, the scorecards, and Terence's performance?
You know, it's funny. I did some interviews earlier this week, and I said, look, there's going to be a lot of arguments afterwards. And there may or may not be arguments. Like, I think that there's some divided opinions. Like, I've talked to some fighters here that I very, very much trust, and they thought it was clear Crawford. Personally, I scored it for Canelo, or a draw. You know, actually, you know, it was 7-5, maybe probably more likely being fair, a draw. But I know the broadcast had it very different. I know people that I trust at home had it very different. I'm very curious to watch it on TV and see how it's different. Like, sometimes on TV, it looks different than the arena. For me, I thought it was a draw, and I was very surprised that people had it such a wide difference. But at the end of the day, it can be a very close fight that ends up 9-3, 8-4. Like, when every fight is only determined by 2 or 3 punches one way or the other, but it can still go like a 9-3 and still be a very close fight. So at the end of the day, I think it was a very close fight. Personally, I thought it was a draw.
What bits did you think Canelo was dominating, like early part of the fight?
Yes, no, that's absolutely right. So, like, first half of the fight, I thought it was probably 4-2 Canelo, and I thought Crawford definitely won the second half of the fight. Might have been 4-2, might have been 5-1. So at the end of the day, it's like 6-6, 7-5, one way or the other. Like, nobody can be that upset with a close score. I have an issue with anybody who's scoring at 9-3 or 10-2. That's my issue. But I think it was a very competitive fight.
I'm going to try and bring Robert in. Robert, can I bring you in a second? Stephen reckons it should have been a draw, maybe Canelo by 1. What did you think?
That's because that was his home for many years.
I didn't want to say. I'll let you say.
No. You know what? It was. We knew that this was going to be one of those fights that we're going to talk about for many years because of the high IQ of both fighters. Bud showed he came in to win. He didn't come in for a payday. He didn't come in just to be an opponent. He came in to compete. It was a very competitive fight of 2 very skilled fighters at the top of their game. Let's do it again.
What next for both guys?
Let's do it again, part 2.
Would you see a rematch?
I mean, I think, look, you look at this arena, you look at the environment, you look at this fight week, it absolutely says do it again. And, you know, at the end of the day, regardless of the scorecards, you know, at this point, it wasn't a clear fight. Like, yes, it could have been 8-4, whatever it was, but each of the rounds was determined by 2 or 3 punches, you know, either way. So I think at the end of the day, like, what's a better fight for Canelo or Crawford at this point than to go forward? Now, at the end of it, I was very surprised that they come in and one of the first questions to Crawford was this your last fight? That's not a story I heard coming in.
Correct.
So that seems like a narrative that, like, I'm not sure who created that narrative, but it seems strange that that was one of the first questions in the ring. That's not a typical question. Like, typical questions when you come in after the fight are like, what did you think of the fight? Like, all this, not, is this your last fight? Like, that, like, as someone within the sport, I'm surprised that was a narrative. That sounded very strange to me. So if he wants to wrap it up, like, he's had a fantastic career, but for me as a boxing fan, I would love to see it again.
And he even answered, I believe he even answered, I'll sit down with my team, because that's not what I had talked about. It was never something that was brought up. This is it. This is the last one.
And I mean, look, and I've already said it, and look, it's easier for me to be a lot more free now. Like, I'm not working for a network. I don't have to be objective. I have an issue, like, somewhat with the announcers. Like, when you're doing a post-fight announcement and doing the post-fight interview, and someone says you're the GOAT of this era, I don't need to hear that from an announcer.
You're not Max Kellerman.
No, I need to hear objective announcers. I don't need to hear cheerleaders. So what I need to hear is what happened in the fight? What was the strategy? Tell me about what happened. I don't need to hear opinion from the guy in the ring.
Fair statement, Mr. Stephen Espinoza, Robert Diaz. Thank you.
Man, it's crazy to see myself in a game, you know, coming up as a kid playing the fighting games and boxing games and football, just any sports game, just to see yourself, you know, to be able to play yourself. It's crazy to me still to this day, you know, sometimes I can't even believe that I'm actually in the game. But, you know, dreams do come true. Reality sets in, and, you know, we're here.